of Allegiance, and followed by the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty God, we're here before you again, trying to do the best we can to do the business of the town of Anger and to represent the needs of the citizens of this area. Lord, give us wisdom, give us patience, and give us temperance as we move through this agenda. For we pray in your name. Amen. All right, a couple of things before we, one thing before we approve the agenda. LaRue Hawley, Commissioner Hawley, has had some surgery, and she is going to be out a couple of days, so her seat is empty tonight, and we commend her to your best wishes and pray to the Lord to protect her. Secondly, Junior Price is presenting a safety lecture in Alabama to 450 people. Imagine that. So before we get started, I will entertain a motion or motions as to how you want our policy. We have a policy in the event a commissioner cannot be present. So based on the policy, is there a motion how you want to handle this?
Well, I do make a motion that we excuse both of them from tonight's meeting. LaRue is sick. It was an emergency surgery yesterday afternoon. And then Junior is working with a class and giving a seminar tonight. It's not that he's just not here. So I make a motion that we do excuse both of their absences.
Okay. All in favor of that, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Okay. All right. This is the rump session, I think. The three of us tonight. Okay, so the agenda is before you. Are there any additions or corrections, or would you move to approve the agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Okay. All in favor of that? Both of you raise your hand one way or the other. Okay, it's approved. All right, I'm going to come around front here now. All right. Well, I'm going to put this right here. I have something to read about you. My 10th grade English teacher was very astute in teaching English. But one of her favorite sayings was, "You done good." So, proclamation. Honoring the heroism of Corporal Levi Creek. Whereas everyday residents of the town of Anger benefit from the dedication and commitment of the town employees, those public servants and unsung heroes that keep Anger running safe. And whereas on Thursday, March 3rd of this year, a 9/11 call came in regarding a citizen suffering from a laceration to the arm and face with severe arterial bleeding. Whereas several attempts to stop the bleeding were made by bystanders, but proved to be unsuccessful. And whereas Corporal Levi Creek, that's you, quickly recognized the severity of the injury and immediately applied a CAT tourniquet, cat tourniquet, and provided medical support until EMS arrived. And whereas upon arrival to the hospital, the citizen was taken to the operating room immediately, and thanks to the life-saving efforts noted by Wake Med emergency physicians and Harnett County EMS, Corporal Levi Creek directly saved the life of a citizen. Failure to act or action after delay could have led to a tragic outcome. Now, therefore, with the consent of the board, I, Robert K. Smith, Mayor of the Town of Anger, along with the Board of Commissioners, recognize with respect and gratitude the heroic actions and selfless courage in the act of saving a life. The officer was a hero on March the 3rd as he responded without hesitation and utilized his training to save a life. Signed this date, Robert K. Smith, Mayor. And I'd like to present a plaque. Doesn't this look neat? A Life-Saving Valor Award presented to Corporal Levi Creek. We're proud of you and your heroic actions taken while on duty, which resulted in preservation of a life. You are a prime example of the pride we take in our job and the selfless acts that our men and women make to help others. Right on.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, Chief, thank you. You got a good man there.
We do. Got a bunch of them.
Right on. Okay. All right. Let's see where we need to go next. Next item on the agenda is public comment. If the clerk will bring me who signed up for public comment. Public comment is something we do at a monthly meeting of the commissioners. We promise to listen. We can't always do anything right then because we need to let Jerry look at it and decide what he would recommend to us. But we will give each person signed up, and there appear to be 3 minutes to express their public comments. Lucas Strahan? 3 minutes. We won't start till you get up here. Did I pronounce it right?
No, not at all. But we're good with that. We say Strachan, even though we pronounce it incorrectly.
Well, we got Kazakavitz up here, so.
I'm here to advocate for the city with the growth that's going on. Everywhere around us, all we see is growth. That's why I'm here to retire and invest in this community. I currently own 3 properties on West William Street right here in our backyard. And what is becoming abundantly clear to me is that this town is outgrowing its footprint. More specifically, no crosswalks, no sidewalks on all the side streets going to our park and our beautiful areas downtown. So I'm here to get the public conversation started with proper safety and handicap crossings and sidewalks available to the public. The second contention I'm here to discuss is the dog park. Well done. So whose ever baby that was, pat yourself on the back right now. I use Jack Marley Park every single day and the dog park every single day since it's been installed. So a big thank you from the community. The one question that we are asking for our fur babies is will there be any water accessible to them as the summer progresses and the heat and temperatures rise?
Okay.
Could be a very easy fix. That's for everybody else to decide. My third contention is the speed limit on West Williams or Chalabee, however we call it.
Calibiot.
Thank you very much. So my contention is from Highway 55 all the way to Norden Street, the temperature, the speed limit, posted speed limit should be changed down from 35 to 25 miles an hour. I believe it's just a reason for people to speed excessively. And as the community and the neighborhood grows, specifically my investment and my growth and my child, I believe that it's a safety issue with a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit right there. And also on how on
Calibiot.
Thank you. I would also like to see coming in to Angier a warning sign that says 55 or 35 that has your posted speed, such as that Highway 55 coming into the city, north and south, and 210 from 40. And that's about my 3 minutes.
Okay, good enough, Lucas.
Any questions on my contentions?
Jerry, you want to give, we'll make an exception and give a little response to that. First, the sidewalks.
Sidewalks, during our retreat about 2 weeks ago, planning staff presented to the board as far as making the downtown more accessible, walkable, and safe. So you will see, maybe not in this fiscal year, but next fiscal year, which starts July 1, more bump outs along the town roads, Broad Street and downtown to make it safer, crosswalks, signage,
Well done.
etc. Water at the park, we have talked about that for the dog park. The water line right now exists along 210, and we would have to cross a creek to get there, so we need to find another alternative. Right now, it's very, very expensive to bring water to the dog parks, but we can look at alternatives for that.
That's excellent.
Okay. And the speed limit, obviously on the state highways is up to the state. But you know, there are some guidelines that we normally have to follow in setting speed limits on roads, but I'll refer that to the town manager.
We can pass that along to NCDOT.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate your time, and I look forward to speaking with you next month as well.
Okay, thank you, Lucas. Mike Hill.
My name is Mike Hill, 48 South Park Street here in Angier. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, it was a good day 2 weeks ago tonight at the Chamber's banquet that we had two people from the town received awards. Heather, Katie, and then Mr. Allgood from Allgood and Healthy. These awards were given out rightfully to the right people, and I think the town should be proud. We've seen these people out here working. Heather and Katie, they extend themselves over and beyond what is expected of them. Mr. Addison Allgood and his wife, they sit in their business. I'm there every day. I watch them work. They sit there every day. They are involved in so many things, also with the chamber, and put more hours than anybody I have ever seen. They need to be praised because they are making a positive outcome to this town.
Good.
Now that night at the meeting, I was kind of disappointed. I want to praise when praise is due, and I want to bring out things that is really damaging to the town. You, the commissioners and mayor, y'all work for the citizens of this town. We don't want you out showing dismay toward anybody if you're going to just leave it alone if you have dismay. During that meeting, we had two commissioners and the commissioner's family. When the award was presented to Mr. Allgood, everybody got up and applauded and made their little noise when it was done. These two commissioners and the member of a family of one of the other commissioners, they sat still and one member of the board turned their back. I thought it was a disgrace to the town. I'm calling them out for it. You represent the town, the people. This shouldn't happen. If you are in dismay, just show yourself as a respectable person and stand and applaud whether you agree with it or not. But the three people that got these awards were well deserving. They work hard for the town, and I demand you, the commissioners, you respect them.
And we respect your right to express your opinion. All right. Thank you, sir. Those who received awards at the banquet, please stand right now. Katie and Heather, and let's give them a big hand. I wasn't surprised that they got awarded, but anyway. All right. Thank you for all you guys do. If I'm doing this right, Chuck Zoya, did I get that right?
You did.
All right.
Hardly anyone ever does.
And they complained when I didn't get Kazakevich right.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Chuck Zoya, 62 Camille Brooks Drive, Anger, moved in at the beginning of the year. I just want to say that I was here, I think it was last month. We were at a meeting talking about the subdivision that's going by Catherine's Retreat. And I just wanted to kind of keep before you, we were talking about changes to Wilma Street. And
okay, let me interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
Were you here last? Well, you weren't here at our planning retreat. The council voted to do what it was necessary to widen Wilma Street by 3 feet. How about that?
Okay, that's a step in the right direction. One other thing I'd like to bring up, and
okay,
it wasn't really addressed, it was the fact that it's a dead-end road, and we're going to have over 100 houses in several subdivisions down there. And should there be like a hurricane or tornado, or if there's an accident on the road, that road is blocked off. And like say I'm in my garage working, and I hit the wrong nail with my hammer, and I need to get to the emergency room. There's no way out, and I bring before you. I'd like you to consider however it gets done. Making a way out of Wilma Street besides just where it crosses MacGyver.
Okay.
There's got to be a way, that we could have another way out of that neighborhood in the event of an emergency.
All right.
So I just and I'm glad that you're going to widen Wilma Street. And in fact, the status is one of the things I was going to ask.
Okay. We're part of the way there. Give us some time. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comment. All right. Our public comment time is over. The consent agenda is before you two commissioners, and that only consists of approval of the minutes of the March 1st, 2022 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion we accept the minutes as read.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. That would be unanimous, or duo-unanimous. Okay. All right. Public hearings. We've got two rezoning requests and an ordinance amendment. Let's see. All right, Sean, you want to lead us through this? We don't have any witnesses or anything, do we? It's just...
Should be ready to move. Good evening, Board. We have two public hearings on tonight's agenda. The first of which is a public hearing for a rezoning request that should look familiar to us. The board heard this request or a very similar one at the January Board of Commissioners meeting. This is for the property located on Highway 55 on the south side of Anger, between Highway 55 and Old Bowies Creek Road, as shown here on the vicinity map. Property is owned by Easley Properties, LLC, and our applicant is Meritage Homes. Totals roughly 57 acres. Do you mind zooming out a little bit so it fits on the screen? Zoom out. Yeah.
Actually, zoom in, yeah.
There we go. Let me scroll down a little bit. Appreciate it. Okay, screenshot on the map here is of our zoning map. As you can see, the property is currently zoned RA30. The requested zoning district is our conditional R6 district. Judging by the boxes on the screen here, you can see the only proposed use is for single-family dwellings on the property in questions. The existing property is farmland. There's a large pond near the center, and as you can tell, it does have road frontage both on 55 as well as Old Bowies Creek and a small section on Ennis Road on the southwest corner here. Surrounding land uses are some low and medium density residential. There's a church across the street on 55 here. This is the Cambridge subdivision to the east and the Windsor subdivision to the west. The property was annexed at that January Board of Commissioners meeting. It will have access to town water and sewer upon the developer's extension. This is our land use plan screenshot here. That dark yellow color on the map indicates our medium density residential classification. The proposed zoning district here tonight does fall in line with that medium density zoning. As you'll see on the 11:17 copy in front of you, the proposed subdivision plan proposes 2.6 units per acre on the proposed subdivision map. Let's see. This is the previously proposed subdivision plan. To point out the differences from the January meeting, there was 162 single-family lots proposed. That density was 2.8 units an acre. That has been reduced from 162 down to 152, and from 2.8 units an acre down to 2.6 units an acre. The total open spaces are listed here on the screen, and all of the lots were previously 6,000 square feet plus. As you can see on the map before you and on the screen here, the dark yellow lots here indicate the enlarged lots since the previous submittal. There is a total of 28 lots out of 152 that have been enlarged to be at least 10,000 square feet. As you can see, they've been positioned around the existing pond on the property, as well as this cul-de-sac on the north end adjacent to the Pope and Pope Law Office. Staff recommendation remains the same as the previous submittal, and that is for approval of the proposed rezoning with the draft list of conditions before you. And at their March 8th meeting, the Planning Board did also recommend approval of the rezoning with the proposed conditions.
Sean, do you happen to have a copy of the draft conditions that you can project?
I do. Let's see. Can you pull off the USB? No, I think it's, there a conditions list on there maybe? Maybe not.
I feel like the audience, needs the graphic to see what we're talking about.
I can read them off if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a list of 12 conditions that staff has worked with the developer.
And explain why this is important. This is not just a straight R6.
Yep. Because this is a conditional rezoning, the developer has the opportunity to propose conditions that they would agree to, that the board can also approve, that will carry with the land just like a standard zoning district will, different than a standard rezoning which does not come with conditions. There is a list of 12 conditions to be considered tonight. I'm going to buzz through them quickly. They are almost identical to the previous submittal, minus the change in lot counts and lot sizes proposed. Number 1 says the parcel in question shall only be developed for single-family lots. There shall be no more than 152 total lots on the parcel. The minimum lot size shall be at least 6,000 square feet. There shall be at least 28 lots greater than 10,000 square feet. The minimum lot width shall be 50 feet, and the minimum building setback shall be as required in the R6 district. The proposed northbound left turn lane and southbound right turn lane improvements on 55 shall be installed per DOT standards. And there shall be a northbound right turn lane installed on Ennis Road to serve the proposed access to the subdivision. There shall be a minimum of 19 acres of open space preserved. The proposed 20-foot street buffers along Highway 55, Old Boys Creek Road, and Ennis Road shall be installed per the Type A buffer standards in Section 7.3 of the ordinance. There shall be curb and gutter and 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk installed throughout the proposed subdivision on both sides of each street, in addition to curb gutter and sidewalk installed along the street frontages on 55, Old Boys Creek Road, and Ennis Road for complete pedestrian connectivity. Are there any questions about the conditions list from the board? Does everyone understand what's changed from the previous submittal?
All right. And basically, sorry, I compared this to the last one. Basically what they have done, there was no increase in, was there an increase in green space, or was it just increased lot sizes, which I seem to think had happened, but just a question.
There was a very slight decrease in total open space to accommodate the larger lot sizes.
Okay. Would you happen to know off the top of your head then, with this development, what percentage of this development would you say then is being dedicated to green space?
33%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not an 8.
It far exceeds our ordinance's minimum. Yes, sir.
Great. I will have another question, but I don't think it's concerning any of the conditions going with this. But I do have another question, if I should go ahead and ask that now. On this map, I need to ask again, when I see area reserved for SCM, what is that?
SCM is a stormwater control measure, aka drainage pond, stormwater pond, commonly referred.
Which is already there.
They have one existing pond. They are proposing additional stormwater management ponds.
Yeah.
Okay. Something that I know that we will be looking for a little bit in the future, as we were discussing at our workshop, what we were hoping to get out of some of these things, to be aware of. And it's not a problem. I am so impressed with this comeback on this deal. But I want to ask, I don't see anything on here. We started talking about what would be active green space. It's one thing to have a retaining pond. It's another thing to a field. But where occasionally can I sit down on a bench in a gazebo, or where might be a small space that we might put some play equipment and a swing set? I'm not asking for clubhouses and pools, but I think the ideal community for me, and what seemed to be the consensus, was that we're developing a self-contained community so that there's something of that nature in that space. I don't see any, again, on this one, any active green space. Am I correct?
There is a placeholder. Number one, there is quite a bit of walking trail all around the existing pond, and also, I guess this will be the southeastern edge of the property. Kind of tricky to see on the screen here.
Mostly green areas.
Right here, this small gray line around the pond that connects to the sidewalk, as well as this loop right here around this stormwater pond. That is all active walking trails within the green space that ties into the backs of sidewalks here and here, so the public can access them. There's also a potential amenity area identified right here towards the Highway 55 frontage off of one of those walking trails. And of course, I'm sure the developer can answer what ideas they might have for that, whether it be a pocket park, a playground, etc.
Right. And that would be that little triangle where it says potential amenity area, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. I was, again, so the public knows something that is something we are discussing. You know, it's all great to go in and fill up your monopoly board with houses and hotels, but where do they eat? If you want a planned community and you want your community taken care of, I think that this is something we will be heading towards, because it's not a lot of money in that area where, like I said, I'm not asking for a clubhouse or a pool, but it would be nice to be able to not have to pack up your kids in the car to go downtown to the park, but to be able to walk around and sit and let them play a little. So
It looks like there's actually two of them on the map here.
another potential.
Yeah, up near one of the entrances on the west side of the pond.
Oh yes, two. Yes, great. Sorry, that was my only other question there, Sean.
The developer does have a small presentation if you guys don't have any other questions
Okay.
for staff.
All right. We'll welcome the developer then to come forward. Would you state your name and address for the record, please, ma'am? That needs to be tightened up down at the bottom there,
Oh,
Sean.
no, it's okay. I
It's
just have to
swinging back and
promise
forth.
not to knock it over. I'll move it back a little bit. My name is Sarah Shirley. I'm with American Engineering, and I'm here with the developer and the builders tonight representing the project. So we do just want to thank you guys again. I know this is the second time you've seen this presentation, but we've really worked hard over the last couple months to make this an even better plan and to bring it before the town so that the town could have something to be proud of. And I have a better rendering in the presentation so I can better point to the amenity areas there. I'll give a minute.
There, we're searching for.
I have a thumb drive.
Just to be open, I live across the street from this new development. And
We appreciate your neighborly honesty.
right on.
Okay. So you might see, this is a pretty familiar presentation. It's generally what we presented last time, but we wanted to show you the level of consistency that we're still bringing to the table. So all of our steps and processes will be the same, but I wanted to highlight some of the things that we have addressed since the last council meeting, namely providing a mix of different lot sizes and addressing adjacent neighbor concerns about current stormwater issues or rainwater issues.
Right.
So these are still all of the things that applied and that we studied before we put a plan together. Here's the rendering to better give you an idea of the trails around the pond. And our idea is we will have the internal sidewalk system that connects to the trails, that connects to the external sidewalk system, which then connects itself to itself with another trail. So all in all, we've got several different loop options available to current residents and proposed residents, future residents, providing over 2 miles of trails and sidewalk combined throughout the community. And for a community this size, it's a pretty extensive system throughout the whole thing. Here, we wanted to highlight, particularly, we're going to take a look at what's happening currently, and we will look at different ways of mitigating any potential issue that could be happening off-site. And beyond that, everything else is pretty much the same. So to sort of address the stormwater question, when you have an existing pond, the Department of Environmental Quality doesn't like you to mess up any existing systems, so they like you to have future and proposed systems to mitigate the stormwater, to treat it so that you're not dumping silt and dirt and whatnot into a pond to help clean the water.
Right.
That's why we have the proposed ponds as well. We're still committing to energy efficient homes, 100% on the community. And after this, of course, rezoning is just an ask for the use. We're going to put it through extensive review processes with the town, with the county, with the state, and we are hoping to get this thing off the ground soon with your permission. And so with that, I'll open it for any questions, and thank you again for your time.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Mm-mm.
All right. We'll open up for comments from those present out in the audience. Yes, come forward, please. And state your name and address, please.
Shannon Mabry, 876 Ennis Road. I'm concerned with lots 40, 41, 42, and 43. You want to show that? I'm showing a lovely neighborhood, beautiful berms, green areas, except right next to my property. So, I would like a proposal of how that's going to be bermed, because I live in a double wide. Lovely, but I don't think the neighbor's going to want to look out on that. So there's nothing around my property that shows any kind of berm, buffer, or anything. So I'm quite concerned. I'd like that to be addressed.
Would you like to address that, please? Or someone from your organization?
That's my first concern. I have one other concern.
Okay. Well, while they're working on it, why don't you tell us about your second one?
Remember last year when there's a problem in Anger where we can't get an extra lane to turn on 210 just because no one will get out and paint some stripes? So there's going to be this new roundabout that's going around, and apparently it's coming right down Ennis Road, right where you're talking about having an entrance to this thing, and Ennis Road is going to be a side road, a service entrance. So, hey, just giving you a heads up. Great ideas. But
Okay. Would you like
40, 41, 42. I'm right there. Great.
Okay, if you'd come up and address it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, so the first things first is this is a compatible use adjacent to other single-family homes. So it would just be having homes next to homes. So it's not, buffers aren't required as part of it. But as part of this, since the concern has been raised, we're willing to commit to providing screening along the backs of those lots.
Okay, fair enough.
And then I think I missed a little bit. You were talking about the future proposed NCDOT roadway improvements. Yes.
Ennis Road will be a service road. It will not actually be. It'll just be the roundabout at the end of the road. So there's going to, what we were told, it would be about a 45-foot berm so that you really would not see the main highway that's going to go around there. So that's of a concern also. It's already a horrible place to come in and out, and then you're going to put an entrance to a subdivision right there on a road that...
So we have, as part of this, we have done a traffic impact analysis, and our consultant has taken into account all the future and proposed NCDOT roadway improvement as part of that. And we are just adapting to what NCDOT is doing along the town. Thank you.
I mean, I call shenanigans on this.
Okay.
It seems no consideration right there for that one point of all of that with all of your beautiful green space and everything to have that literally. So I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So I hear the developer being willing to add that to the conditions.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Hill.
On your traffic impact study, did it show any problems with future traffic with this subdivision? Or?
No, actually, because of the bypass that's going in, which is called NC 55 bypass, it will actually take a lot of the traffic off of the existing roads that surround our subdivision. So that's a benefit.
Okay. Other comments or questions from the audience? If not, I will close the public hearing. And members of the remaining members of the board, you guys have any comments or questions?
Well, I have a comment. I am thrilled to see you guys come back and do this. It is a sign that it doesn't hurt to ask, and maybe ye shall receive. There was a lot of discrepancy on this, and what came up the very next month was approved. Didn't even question what they were doing with much of it. And, of course, I approved this the first time around. It goes to show, if you ask, you guys have come back and given us 10,000 square foot lots in what would be an R10 zoning. So you've come and met us and given us some of the things that we've asked for. I'm blown away. I'm wishing it luck again, but the very next month, it sailed through with 8% green space and no question to ask them to reduce the size of their lots. But I think you have set an example for the others to see that this is possible. And hopefully we've given Sean a little better guidance as to what to ask for up front so we can move these things through a little quicker for all of you and for the town and its growth as well. But I did have to make that comment there. Mr. Mayor did acknowledge again that he lives there. I wanted to clarify at this moment too. I don't think I ever questioned. I was questioned as to why I did not recuse myself from the meeting from last month, and I made it very clear that I live on Wilma Street. No question about it. And I shared the concerns that were happening on Wilma Street. But I did not stand to financially gain or lose anything by this being done. And if I'm correct, Mr. Lawyer for the town, that would have been the reason for me to recuse myself. So right. I felt the need to sort of clarify that, as Bob just did with the fact that he lives there. In fact, I lived on that street much longer than the developer had said how long he'd lived there. So yes, it was of concern, safety, traffic, a dead-end road. But I thank you again. I'm babbling, I know, but thank you for coming back, wanting to stick with Andrew, and giving us something that we can, be proud of over there in that area. I'll shut up now.
Like to say this about that. I don't know if all of you know, but Mr. Coates is actively involved in the production of plays in Raleigh, and so it takes a little bit to blow him away. So,
or to shut me up.
We'll not go into that. Kaz, do you have any comments or questions?
I do got one question on the runoff for the pond. Do you know where that drains into?
Runoff of the existing pond?
Yeah.
Can't say, but looking at the map, confident this is something staff will address during construction drawing review. Like the representative said from the developer, any runoff caused by the increased impervious has to be accounted for in their stormwater facility.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure because I can't remember where it's running off now. If it's running down to an existing stream somewhere, because I know there's a lot of flooding in that area when it rains. And
do y'all have any response to that? Okay.
You are correct. I mean, when it leaves our property, it runs. Sorry, I can actually.
Need to move it down some, yeah.
It runs under a culvert under the road here, and then does feed a future stream. I mean, it basically just keeps working its way downhill.
Right.
But Sean is correct.
The Black River, yeah.
Yeah, as basically anything that is currently happening, we would have to study the drainage area for this site, everything that comes onto our site, everything that's currently going off, and make pre and post calculations based on what's currently happening and make sure we're mitigating anything that we're proposing. So that is very highly regulated. That's one of the many items actually that is regulated about site design.
Any other questions, board? Well, you have before you the question of whether to approve the zoning to CZR6, which is conditional, with the 12 conditions that are before you, the 12th one being additional screening between lots roughly 40 to 43.
Would that not be condition 13 now?
Yeah.
Because we have 12 currently.
Oh, excuse me. So 13, you're absolutely right. So if that's satisfactory, is there any motion?
I make a motion that we approve this with the conditional draft, 13 amendments that we have put on there. And I guess that 13th is being listed as either screening or berming, whichever works to make that happen along that side section over there. And if we need to say behind lots 40, 42, 43, 40, whatever we need to add to that to make that correct. I don't write it, I just read it.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, those in favor of the zoning, granting the zoning request with the conditions as stated, please raise your hand. I'm not going to ask for negative. It's unanimously approved. Okay. Thank you very much. Very good subdivision, and I would have voted for it if they split. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. The next thing is a junkyard ordinance amendment. I understand there's some consideration about delaying this, or?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we table it for further, to look at further for another at least 12 months.
Okay. All right. The motion is to delay consideration of this item for 12 months. Do you want to explain some of the background of why you're suggesting that, or not?
Well, we were, after looking into it and all, it's just fair to the owners to comply to what we already had put up before the ordinance was taken back down. We'll give them a chance to follow through on what they had started to clean up and to hide a lot of the ugliness, more or less. And if they don't do that, then we'll go ahead and reinstate it.
Okay. Any further comment, discussion?
Yeah, yes, please. I know that Commissioner Hawley was working on this specifically and quite involved in this change of adaption here. And given the fact that she is not here tonight to propose what she was working with them to do, and I think she's got a good idea. But given the fact that she's not here to present that tonight, I know Jim is suggesting, I would only, for myself, like to shorten this to 6 months. A year is an awfully long time, and we've been working on this for a long time too. And if she's going to get anything done, which she spoke to me about, it could certainly be done within the next 6 months without tacking this out to yet another year. If I'm making sense to what you just proposed, Jim.
Would you accept that as an amendment to your motion?
I would.
Okay, so the motion is now that we delay it 6 months.
Right, so that she can then, maybe she can even enlighten at our next meeting when she's here as to what some of her thoughts are on how to make that happen.
Okay.
Perhaps it would make sense to just delay discussion of this until the next meeting when she's back, instead of tabling it out for 6 months or a year.
I'm game for that.
Yep.
Okay.
I would really like for her to be here to be able to
substitute to the substitute. One of the concerns I have is that we don't have an active implementation of the ordinance right now, and we want to be sure something doesn't come in that we're not proud of.
Could happen as long as you're not enforcing the ordinance and what you will.
Right.
Well, again, the piece of the ordinance.
There's a danger to not having an ordinance at all.
So what I hear then is there is a consideration for delaying this amendment, but that it be the consideration of that be put off until the next board meeting in next month. Is that correct?
Perhaps just to delay the public hearing until the next meeting.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes, that seems to be. Would we then, Dan, or what you're saying, then we could take some action on it at the next meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
You would need to renotice the public hearing because I believe it was noticed for tonight. As long as we renotice the public hearing for the next meeting, then it can be taken up then.
You could also have the public hearing and then delay implementation.
You could proceed with the public hearing tonight if you like, and then delay your decision until the next meeting as well.
Well, I think out of respect for Ms. Hawley, we need to wait on that.
As he just said, though, if you advertise tonight as a public hearing on the matter, you could acknowledge and go ahead and go with that. But as far as making a decision, we would just postpone that until next month.
Correct.
Without having to re-post again for yet another public hearing.
Well, there are only two of you. What's the consensus? You want to go ahead with that, have the hearing?
Well, are there people here to speak for this tonight? I guess would be the question too. Okay. Then because I do want LaRue to have an input on this because I know that she has been doing a lot of time and put a lot of work into this, and I want to make sure that we get a chance to hear it and acknowledge what she has done. And unfortunately, we just spoke about this yesterday. This happened overnight, so.
And she got sick overnight, so. All right. Okay, we'll, if you'll present the facts, then we'll go into a public hearing and go from there.
Okay. Yeah, I can give a general overview of where we stand. We've gone through this proposed ordinance amendment a few times now as a board and as a planning board. Can you go back to the second PDF there? Here we go. This is in regards to the junkyard definition and junkyard screening requirements on our ordinance.
And that's the way it's stated in this general statutes, right?
Good point. The general statutes do have definitions for junked motor vehicle, and junkyard. Thus, our decision to change our ordinance definition to storage yard, thus not contradicting the state, if that makes sense, and writing our own definition for what a storage yard is. The proposed amendment before you tonight and advertised for the public hearing has virtually identical language for the screening requirements. We changed the terminology based on the board's feedback at their February workshop to remove references to junked vehicles and junkyards wherever possible. Mm-hmm. Replace junk motor vehicle with unregistered and non-functional vehicle, and to replace junkyard with storage yard. But again, the screening requirements for those existing, what we call legal non-conforming, also known as grandfathered in businesses, to remain the same. The screening is essentially a 6-foot opaque fence blocking these unregistered and non-functional vehicles from view, is how it reads as presented. At the February workshop, staff received feedback from the board to temporarily cease enforcement action until we could rewrite this ordinance in a way that pleases the board. That's where we stand tonight. I have had multiple discussions with Commissioner Hawley about her intention to work with the property owner to form a kind of an informal solution versus the ordinance enforcement route, which I believe is her intention. We do have at least one speaker here tonight who wants to weigh in on this, unless you guys have questions for staff.
I have a question about the definition. Based on the definition, and folks, I'm an attorney, I work for the state, I apologize, but based on that, if you go with the definition, then the local automobile parts stores would be subject to this definition. It seems to me we have to incorporate something about inoperative or vehicles or some kind of adjective that keeps it from being the local automobile parts store.
I guess the key in the proposed definition is any lot containing more than 3 unregistered and non-functional vehicles.
That helps, but the first sentence ought to be able to stand on its own, I would think.
Did we not take that definition from the ordinance, from the statute?
Well, we're creating our own definition of a storage yard. You're referring to the vehicle parts sentence?
Yes.
Okay. So this would not, vehicle parts stored within a enclosure would not trigger this definition.
But of course, it doesn't say that. I'm just, I'm just saying that, you know, we've got to be as precise as it can be. But, you know, maybe we can have the hearing and still, you know, if we continue it, you can work more on the language to see what we can do with it. Okay, said my piece. That's what you pay me the big bucks for. All right.
Ready for the public hearing?
Yes. All right. Those who want to have something to say about the public hearing, do we need to swear them in? No.
No.
All right. Name and address, please.
Thank you. Don't mean to be a frequent flyer, but appreciate the opportunity to.
Okay.
Tommy Burns, 2237 Oak Grove Church Road, Andrew. I submitted some written comments earlier in the day to Sean. I didn't know I was going, if I'd be able to get here or not. Miss Hawley called me over the weekend, and she's talked through some ideas that she had about working with our tenant on the property. And the only concern I have is that the options that she's proposed to me, which I'm reasonable about. I mean, I think I'm agreeable to some of those, but they are not in the ordinance language. And so I guess my concern is if we put it off and I go ahead and make the tenant do some of these things, the things that I'm making the tenant do are not in the ordinance. So I guess that's my exposure is I don't want to go ahead and tell him you got to do this and that. And as a reasonable solution we're trying to work out, and it run counter to the ordinance.
What kinds of things are you saying?
She had mentioned about would we consider doing some screening and some landscaping around the road, I guess the parts of the property that are on the road.
It mentions screening in the very first segment.
The strict interpretation is wood or vinyl screening. So that was
your question now, because what's in there right now is still opaque.
So,
and that is
right.
What she will be proposing is to not be opaque, would be whether it would be the mesh screening like in a green with landscaping in front of it. So it is not a flat screen, and it would, I shouldn't even be saying this because, like I said, this was a telephone conversation I don't remember about, that she's got ideas for this, which I think at one point this is requesting that the opaque fence be done completely around the entire property. And I think, was that not the language in here, Sean?
Yeah.
Right. That she was going to propose that it be visual, whether road fronts. In this particular property, it's two sides to cover that. So I don't quote me on these things. Like I said, it's why I really want her to be here to talk about it. So it would be a change of language, Sean, that the opaque statement would be gone. And I think her plan was to propose this to existing properties only, but again, I'm not going to speak for her. That's why I really want her to be here to be able to discuss it.
Okay.
And you know, she's asking us, will we work with her ahead of that to make progress? And we will. We just don't know the parameters of which we can work within. Because if we go do this and then the ordinance is adopted as it's presented, then we're back in here again for the same issue. And I think there needs to be some reasonable flexibility, particularly with existing uses. I certainly understand a new use, someone coming in, understand that. But
okay.
And I would just reiterate again, as far as the time frame, I truly believe on my conversations with the tenant that this is going to cure itself in short order anyway. So it may be a moot point come the end of the year anyway. So,
right.
But thanks to Sean, I talked with him also about it, and I appreciate his time and input, and and Ms. Hawley's as well. So.
Tommy, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sean, part of the answer to my original question may be midway down on the second page, where you talk about unregistered and non-functional motor vehicles. And you may want to say unregistered and or non-functional motor vehicles. Although an unregistered vehicle could be a new vehicle. So work on that.
That's why we have it the way we do.
Yes, Tony.
I just have one question. I just want to make sure should be both. The written comments would be
okay. Without objection, we'll include those written comments in the record of this hearing. Any questions from or comments from the board further?
I think that we did the public hearing portion of this. So basically, if we just table this until next month when Ms. Hawley is here, I think we could be able to
to move on more in depth on what she.
That was your original motion. Do you want to renew it?
Yeah, we'll table it until next meeting.
The next board meeting. Okay. All in favor of that, please raise your hand. Okay, it's unanimous. All right.
We will get this off the docket, Sean, soon. I promise.
All right, new business. Community Development Advisory Board interview. Who's leading that? Let's see. Are you the interviewee or?
Yes.
Okay. Please state your name and address, and then tell us about yourself.
Tyja Johnson. My address or my business address?
Yes.
Okay, 59 West Smithfield Street in Anger.
Okay. All right. Tell us about yourself. We've got some material in the application.
Okay. Well, my name is Tyja. I am originally from New York. I've been here for about 13 years. I first came to Anger, North Carolina, and then I relocated to Lillington, where I graduated from Kimball University. Then I went off to grad school at Methodist University. And then I relocated to Cumberland County. And I have a brokerage office here in Anger. I help families find life insurance plans and annuities and health insurance. And I really want to be a part of the advisory board to help grow the community and give suggestions on how we can do that.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Tasha, I assume that you have met with Heather.
Yes.
And were able to ask questions of what is expected of you in this committee and involvement. So that is a good thing. Tasha, have you ever been, and I'm looking at just the briefness here of what was here, have you served on any other boards of any kind, school, activities, civic organizations? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I haven't served on any boards. I've been in leadership programs.
Okay.
I haven't served on any boards.
In what capacity and what were those type things?
So for educational leadership programs and mentor programs.
And how long have you been running your business? Was it somewhere else before it was in Anger, or is this your startup here?
My startup was in Anger, but I was still operating, so it's been about a year.
Okay. Yes. And where do you currently live?
I live in Hope Mills.
Hope Mills. How far away is that?
That's about 40 minutes away.
Okay.
It's right next to Fayetteville.
Okay. And I'm sure Heather said, it's like, yes, you have your monthly meeting, or if needed but necessary, but, it's also involvement at other times. We're all learning that, it's more than what you think that one meeting is, in order to get out and see the other businesses and the areas of town as well, because we've opened this up to a bigger parameter now. It's no longer downtown. It's within the city limits of Anger and opening that up. But obviously, Heather quizzed you on all of those questions.
Yes, sir.
All right. No other questions from me.
So, Heather, tell us about the requirements for being eligible to be on this board.
Requirements are that you have to...
It's not working. There you go. Sean's got one.
Sean's is trying to work.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so this board is a little different. You have to live or work or own a business in our planning jurisdiction. So being that she works and owns a business here, she meets those qualifications.
Okay.
How long is the term? Are these 3 terms tonight up for again, Heather?
2-year terms.
2-year terms.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking for 2 people?
Three. We've met with the other interviews were the last board meeting.
Last board meeting. Okay.
Or is the workshop, sorry.
Right. Any further questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the nominations and appointments of the 3 Daisy Haywood, Tasha Johnson, Alexa Whittington, to be appointed to the Community Development Advisory Board.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That would be unanimous. Okay. All right.
Congratulations.
All right. So next is a voluntary annexation petition. And this is just to direct the clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the petition submitted by Dwight and Eloise Stevenson for approximately 77.4 acres located roughly at 1251 North Raleigh Street and 1192 Rawls Church Road. And the pins, I'm not going to recite those. It's simple act of the board to direct the clerk to go investigate the sufficiency of the petition.
I make the motion that we have Veronica go ahead and investigate.
Yeah, as per the resolution in the record.
Correct.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. It's passed.
Can I ask a quick question of Sean? I'm having trouble reading these little tiny maps with these lines on them. You go to blow them up and they just get blurred. Sean, again, where is this? I know we're just giving her authority to investigate, but for my future use, where is this located?
This is the same site of the previously approved White Oak Creek Crossing PUD.
Yes.
The Board of Adjustment approved
Yes.
last month. Dwight Stevenson's house on 55, right beside the credit union.
Uh-huh.
His farm that goes all the way back to Rawls Church Road.
It's
Now
that
they've had-
subdivision.
But I know, but we're adding more to it? Is that what?
We are just annexing the piece that's already been approved.
Never mind. Duh. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, I thought this ship had sailed, so, okay. Thank you.
They
All
wanted
right.
to make sure their approvals were in order first.
Gotcha.
Madam Clerk, go investigate. All right. Okay, another voluntary annexation petition. Sandra Stevenson and Peggy Hardison, 17.675 acres, located on NC 55 West in Anger. It's resolution R007-2022. The prior one was 006. And where is this located also?
Just south of the Cambridge subdivision on 55, directly across from the rezoning we just approved.
And just down the road from me, once
right.
again. Y'all are,
Your neighborhood's growing.
So
I
this
tell
one you say would be across the street? Just the little church is there?
Just south
just
of the
beyond the
church.
church.
Just-
yeah.
okay.
South of the church.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And before you get to the new pond.
The new pond.
In the red bubble.
Yeah, the pond is on south of there, on the other side of that house down there. Okay. All right. So is there a motion?
I make a motion that we authorize the clerk to, I should be reading this. You have the number there, Bob.
To investigate the sufficiency of the petition in R007-2022. The petitions submitted by Sandra Stevenson and Peggy V. Hardison for 17.65 acres on NC 55.
That one.
Is that what?
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what you said. Okay. All right. All in favor of that, please raise your right hand. Okay. It passes. All right. The budget amendment number 11. I suspect we're going to hear from Hans. Am I correct in that?
It's an easy one.
All right. And again, thank you for keeping our financial ship tight. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for appreciating that. It's something that we seem to have a budget amendment nearly monthly, but at the end of the day,
That's fine.
we're keeping it tight.
That's fine.
Relatively speaking, this budget amendment is, a little more straightforward. So it has to do, of course, with just directly with library donations that we had received. Katie has been working hard on that, and we treat that as a restricted revenue. And so, of course, we increase her allowable spending within a certain expenditure line, donations, and oftentimes it gets carried forward into the following fiscal year for the library department to use. So that keeps it pretty tight there in that regard. The Booster Club, or that's essentially that is how that fund was established, was due to the Booster Club, and that's why we call that fund the Booster Club Fund. It's again, from field rental and whatnot, money had been received beyond anticipation, naturally, and so we need to, absorb that and then appropriate the allowable spending for Parks and Rec to do what needs to be done.
And we're talking about $180 and $350 in a $6 or $7 million budget. So kudos for keeping things tight. Is there a motion that we approve budget amendment number 11?
I make a motion that we adopt budget amendment number 11.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, it is passed. Thank you, Hans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners.
All right. And then we've got two resolutions that have already gone through the stage of what we did tonight to authorize the clerk to go consider the sufficiency of a annexation petition, and we've got two Resolution ROO2-2022 and ROO8-2022 to fix a date for public hearing of voluntary annexation. And the first one is Joel Young and Cheryl Young for 122.5 acres at 6600 Wimberley Road. The second one is the William Coy Rogers heirs for about 15.62 acres at 9405 Kennebec Road in Willow Spring. Always thought that ought to be Anger, but anyway. Okay. So, Dan, can we do these together? All right. So, in both cases, we're fixing a date for these public hearings. I assume we can do it, Mr. Manager, at the next board meeting?
I believe, is this for May? May 3rd, yeah.
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
All right. So your motion would be to fix the date for the annexation public hearings in ROO2 and ROO8 for May the 3rd, 2022. Do I hear a motion? Kaz, it may be your turn.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we'll set it for May 3rd.
May 3rd. Both of these ROO2 and ROO8 as on our agenda.
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion about this? Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Thank you. Folks, sometimes this might seem a little pedantic and a little slow, but we are governed by law, and we want and are required to do this right. So we appreciate your patience in observing us doing that. All right, manager's report.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, members of the board, on March the 25th, the commissioners and staff held our annual retreat. So I just want to thank each one of you and staff for your time and your commitment, your patience with so much information to consider and absorb. And also really want to thank my staff for their hard work. I think the information. I think the information was well presented. There was a lot of hard work that went into those presentations. It cannot do those overnight or within a couple of days. It takes weeks. And I think it was well presented to the board and a very good retreat, I would say.
Amen.
Also attached is the budget work schedule. So that gives you a reference to the tentative dates during the budget process. So if anybody has any questions, you can refer to those dates as far as when we plan to have certain workshops, the manager's budget presented to the board, and also the final adoption. And lastly, logistics with vacating the town hall for new construction. Administration did move out in February to the Public Works facility out on Campbell Street. Planning and inspections moved out last week to the Parks and Rec building, which is located in Jack Marley Park. Police will move at the end of April, 1st of May, and that would be in the old Farrell Gas building, which is 58 North Broad Street South, as well as finance and utilities will move out at the end of May, 1st of June at the same location. And to date, demolition is still scheduled for July.
Wow.
With a completion date of July 2023.
Can y'all believe that building's going to be gone by June? Gosh. Okay. Good job, Mr. Manager. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. We now have staff reports. The first one I see is Bill Drexler. Is he here? I don't see his face.
Yeah, Bill's not able to be here.
So he's talking about Highway 210 sidewalk extension. completion date of August 5th, 2022. How about that? And the Willow, Junie, and West Lillington sidewalk extension. That's a lap project. And let's see, we're currently in the process of getting that done or getting it set up.
Yeah, there's an engineering contract on that with Summit, and we're just reviewing the language of that now.
Okay, good. And then wastewater inflow infiltration evaluation. So he's working on that, and you want to explain what that is?
I think Jimmy probably could at his reports.
Okay, we'll let Jimmy do that. We anxiously await hearing about it, Jimmy. Okay, so we've been doing some sanitary sewer flow tracking. They put a machine, a camera down in the sanitary sewer and see if there are any cracks or roots coming in or anything like that. So pump station number 1, Jimmy, be sure to tell us about that in your report as well. And so I expect that's enough. This is good news. The 500,000 gallon elevated water storage tank that we're going to use the money from the state to construct. The town received a letter of intent from NCDEQ, and as well as on the old core water distribution system downtown, as well as the wastewater treatment additional capacity that we need to be buying. So DEQ is the state agency, Department of Environmental Quality, that's responsible for water and sewer issues, and they have given us a letter of intent that we can move forward. Is
That's
that correct?
And there was a comment on Facebook earlier today that they were hoping that we would talk more about the water tank in the core system. So we have received a letter from the state, and we plan to move forward with sending out requests for qualifications to engineers. Staff will review those and bring them back to the board for approval.
Okay. In other words, we're moving forward.
Yes, sir.
On this stuff. All right. Good enough. Yay. Okay. All right. Bill Drexler, we can talk behind it. Drexler does a really good job. He's been our town engineer for many years, and he's just performing well. Thank you, Bill. Wherever, if you're listening. Okay. All right. Human resources. Well, you have this written report, so we'll consider that as your report. Okay. But you are responsible for human resources issues for all the employees of the town, right? Okay. Good enough. All right. Finance. Yes.
Well, I have to say, from our budget retreat, board retreat, however you want to phrase that, we really discussed quite a bit regarding even the presentation, the PowerPoint slides and whatnot that are seen within the financial report. So, broadly speaking, it's more imperative to really state that we're in the midst now of going through all of our line items, our revenue lines, our expenditure lines. We've been working with department heads, and thankfully department heads are all of us are very, very mindful of spending naturally. And they keep me on my toes. So that's good. That's good. So our revenues, they are coming in as expected. So we can most certainly say, again, that last fiscal year when we were doing the budget process then, that we had done a very, very good job. We had analyzed it very well, and we had forecasted and projected, well, it's nearly one and the same. And so we've done well. As far as, again, expenditure lines and whatnot, we're assessing that. There are some adjusting journal entries to do, which is in regard to basically a few mispostings against certain expenditure lines, just need to be reallocated. It's just cleaning up. But at the end of the day, what this is about is we're preparing for our budget process, which we're in the middle of, and naturally also the audit. The auditors should, well, no, not should, they will be here for their preliminary on June 1st. So that's exciting. And they're thorough. So we are combing through the books. It has begun, and essentially we are making sure that we are looking at the books as though we were the auditors themselves. We have a great reciprocity with them. There's no question about that, but they do hold us to a fairly, well, of course, high standard. It's a good company, so they'll keep our feet to the fire. They've been known to do that. So it's, again, we're just doing our siphoning and we're just doing our cleaning up, and essentially that's what finance is in the midst of doing, along with department heads and, of course, Mr. Vincent, the town manager. And so just naturally keeping Mr. Mayor, you and the board, our commissioners, keeping you guys abreast of what's going on. That's a very broad view.
Okay.
Financially, we're doing very well. We're doing fine. We're doing fine.
Okay.
You know, not I mean, again, with the amount of projects that we have going on, well, we'll project that out. Yeah.
But you think we'll get through it somehow?
As methodical as Mr. Vincent is, yes, we will.
Right on. Good enough. Okay, any questions from the board? Here, here.
Thank you.
Bless you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, good. This is 22 pages of finances reports, folks. This is, I mean, anything you ever want to know, it's right here. Okay, let's see if I can get to who's next. Wow, like I say, 22 pages. Public Works, okay. Public Works it is. You got some explaining to do.
Always do.
Yeah.
Good evening, board. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. You've got my monthly staff report in front of you. Staff's been real diligent at trying to work on a lot of these infield lots. I think it was a goal of the board for a long time to try to get some of these infield lots filled in, so we're actually going to making those water and sewer taps for those. So staff is busy with that, and along with everything else I've got in the reports between leaves, limbs, household, those items that we're picking up. Any questions on my staff report before I get into some of the inflow and infiltration? Okay.
Sure.
All right. So as the mayor mentioned through Bill's study, with inflow and infiltration, so you look at it two ways, just like it sounds, inflow, infiltration. So a lot of our older core system is made out of clay pipe, and they're put together with 4-foot joints of pipe. And so a lot of times over time, the joint compound in between, that breaks down, so you get groundwater. As the groundwater during wintertime is high, you get your infiltration through your cracks, stuff like that. Then also,
which we have to pay for down in Lillington.
That is correct. You pay for every drop of wastewater you can collect. Yes, sir. Part of it's rainwater. And so inflow is just like it sounds. You've got water flowing into your system. So some of them may flow in through manholes or broken sewer cleanout caps. So staff is very diligent about noting those when we go look at meters, read meters, we check on those, and anything that we find broken, we try to fix those to help alleviate any of our info problems. One of the ways you study that is you actually put flow meters in different locations, so that way you can get an idea of where your problem areas are. So you put your flow meters in on a day that doesn't rain. If you get 5,000 gallons a day, then you've got your base average. Then a day like today, you get the rain, so tomorrow you would check it, and if your flow meter's doubled, then you know you've got inflow or infiltration coming in at those points. As far as pump stations 1 and 6, we're working diligently with the contractor to get started, hopefully within the next week or so, installing the force main along Rawls Road. So pump station 1 is there right off of Rawls and Dupree Street. So we're bringing the force main out through Dupree Street and then back down to our gravity interceptor along Rawls Road. So hopefully we get started on that as soon as we get our DOT encroachment. That's our biggest holdup right now, waiting for them to approve the plans. And then that'll be in conjunction with pump station 6. So we're replacing both of those stations.
Why are you replacing them, Jimmy?
Because they've outlived their usefulness. So, and as we continue to grow, we need to just increase those stations to be able to handle the growth.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's all I have.
Okay, did we cover all those things from Bill's report?
I covered the inflow and infiltration and pump station 1 and 6.
Okay.
Yes,
all right. Good enough. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's see. I believe the park is next. Is that right? Right on. Derek.
Evening, board, mayor, well, some of the board.
Yeah.
Hope Commissioner Hawley's doing okay, and thoughts and prayers to her and her family tonight. You guys have my monthly report there in front of you. Got any questions for me or anything?
Yeah, the question was raised tonight about getting some water to the dog park. So you're working on that, right?
Sure. It's raining right now.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the things, we had an event this past weekend. We noticed there was some kids climbing on things that they shouldn't have been climbing on. I think, what do you think about maybe making some signs to put up there and do not climb on, mainly to...
Like what were they climbing on?
The frisbee golf stations. They think it was a jungle gym, and there was 3 or 4 kids on one of them, and it was bending over.
Wow.
We had to tell them a number of times to not climbing on it. We need to see maybe somehow.
I think the idea is good. We also got signs down there that says "Don't throw rocks in the pond," and they still throw rocks in the pond.
Don't throw rocks at the ducks. Yeah.
Kids climbing on those stuff.
Yeah, I'm just worried about being a liability issue. If one of them falls in there, leg gets caught in there, and they end up breaking a leg while they're hanging upside down in there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that might be a question for Dan. On that.
Warning signs never hurt.
Yeah, I mean, just a decal, just put along the top, do not climb on.
It says, "Please do not climb on."
Yeah, something just to cover us.
I mean, if that keeps us from being liable, then
it helps.
I mean, okay.
Anything else from the board? Mm-mm. Okay.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Derek. Planning and inspections. Not that you hadn't been up here already. That tie seems to be a mixture between UNC and Duke, and like faded down to that. So
I'm going to go teal.
Teal. All right.
You have your Planning and Inspections Department report in your packets tonight. You'll notice some big numbers on that front page, which represent another record broken for your inspections department, issuing 35 permits for new homes to be built during the month of March is a new record for us.
Just that month. Okay.
That's right. 116 total permits came out the door during the month of March. As we showed you on our fancy bar graph at the board retreat, we are on track to not only break records this year in Andrew, but almost double our previous record this upcoming fiscal year. We did hire a new permitting technician. Emily Dale, our current technician, is set to retire. Her last day is on Friday. I'd like to stop by and say your farewell to her and meet Sydney, our new employee. Please do. As Jerry mentioned, we are now at the Parks and Recreation building.
Have a little more room, hopefully, down there.
Slightly more room than we did at Town Hall, but we are very excited for the new building, getting to spread out a little bit, and as well as add the staff we need to keep up with these permitting totals coming through the door. Page 2 of your staff report always includes the current status of all of our pending and active subdivisions. As they get rezoned or annexed or approved, I put their latest status on that second page. And of course, please direct anyone with any questions about development going on in town my direction.
Do you want to give some highlights from the current status subdivision?
We have, I believe my last total was 17 subdivisions in various stages of approval and review, totaling, we're getting close to 3,000 lots on the books now.
Wow.
That includes everything approved since 2018, I believe. With no signs of slowing down, as you could see, we approved another rezoning tonight, and we had, I believe, 4 annexations in the various stages.
And this doesn't count much of anything except the Stevenson property on the bypass.
That's exactly right. We have that construction of that project to be underway in the next year or so. So don't expect those development inquiries to slow down. Your code enforcement staff report is always attached to mine. You can see Mr. Hodges is very busy throughout town cleaning up problem properties. I did bring Heather Kiefer up with me, our community development coordinator. I don't want to steal her thunder with her very successful event this past weekend. I will let her speak on that as well as her upcoming events.
Okay. I hear Mr. Roberts saying, "Would you be my neighbor?" And we're getting a bunch of them. Yeah.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So in the community development world, you know, everything, it takes special people to make special places, right? So tonight I wanted to highlight and recognize a couple special people that make my job a whole lot easier. So I have one friend here. We'll see if she's ready to come up. You want to come up with? Yeah, it's okay. So this is our friend Kaden Tart. She has been such a helpful and caring neighbor to the town of Anger. And if you see up here, there's some pictures. We've caught her in action with a security camera. But, you know, the planters that everyone loves around town, Public Works will be putting new plants in for the spring. They're everywhere. A car has hit one in February, and Kaden was so sweet and nice that she came and she put it all back together again and made it pretty for us. And I really want to thank her and let everyone know what a great job she did.
Kaden, let's give her a hand. Okay.
Thank you so much. And you can go sit back down. So no, she's really great. And you know, this area here, we talked about the courtyard at the retreat, and you know, kind of making that a little easier to manage. This year, Cub Scouts Pack 320 will be helping us with some of that maintenance, so to supplement what what Public Works is already doing in that area. And then this weekend we had our Anger Spring Fling, which was a large-scale Easter egg hunt and touch-a-truck. And I wanted to thank our community partners. You can see by the list there that all of our departments were helping in some capacity. There's a lot of staff from all departments there helping. We're guessing 3,500-ish people there, and 13,000 Easter eggs. And Duke Energy, Wake County Speedway, Black River Woodwork, Manna Church, Andrew Black River Fire Department, Harnett County Emergency Services, Nikki's Delightful Treats, Toys for Tots, Forever Clean, The Bags, nonprofit, Carolina Trash and Septic, and then the Andrew Chamber, Oink and Move by Two Brothers, All Good and Healthy, Outreach Fabrication, and Vision Works, all did something, whether it was put the word out or help the day come out seamlessly. I want to say it's probably the easiest event I've ever put on from the beginning to end, and everyone seemed to have a very good time. We have some notes for next year, so as we grow, we can get better. And anyway, it was super great experience. So yeah, they're some of our partners. So anyway, we have our morning market in April, along with on April 23rd, we'll have the street sweep with Keep Harnett Beautiful, and we'll be welcoming volunteers to help us clean up the downtown area and other adjacent neighborhoods in the town.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your hard work.
Oh, wow. You know, we have been missing you. Because before, we would look over to Dunn and all of the stuff they would put out and all of the stuff they were doing, and we were jealous. But now, you're here, and you're doing the same thing and more. Thank you.
Now, you need to applaud to all these people, because this wouldn't have happened without them.
Well, okay. Well, you were the closest, so okay. All right, we've got police department.
Heather's being humble. She has done a lot of great things for this town.
Lee came to the Kiwanis Thursday and gave a report on what his department has accomplished, and we appreciate you doing that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hope everybody's doing well. And like Derek said earlier, our thoughts and prayers go out to Commissioner Hawley and her family. Y'all have a copy of this in y'all's packet, so if y'all have any questions, let me know. But as far as police activity for the month of March, consisted of 3,233 calls for service / officer-initiated activities. Officers investigated 32 criminal offenses. During these investigations, 18 individuals were arrested on a total of 43 charges. 2 arrests were made due to outstanding warrants. We purchased our new duty weapons, pistols and rifles, after being awarded the GCC grant, and everyone has now been qualified with their new weapons. We have updated our Axon 2 body cams to the new Axon 3 body cams. We are, like Heather said earlier, we've been working with Heather to prepare for upcoming spring events. But that's about it. Do y'all have any questions?
And you're working on the firing range also.
We are.
Try to make some changes there. So, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad you're on board. I know. Okay. Next is Public Library. It's Katie.
It's way too high up. Good evening, everybody. So you guys also have my reports. I just want to highlight a few things out of it. This month was March. We did do a lot of STEM activities, and actually this was our busiest month of this entire fiscal year so far, even higher than any of our summer program months. So we were very excited to be seeing people coming in. We attribute that to the programs. Our numbers have all continued to go up. The Seed Library has been just a constant rotation of people in and having to fill the seats. So that's been a huge part of our numbers, and that's been bringing people into the library as well, not just for seats, but also we've had a lot of new patrons. A few things, we did have Liberty Hospice here teaching a class, and this week I do want to make it known for everybody. It's not just for kids, but we are doing Easter wreaths in the library for hospice patients this week. All the wreaths will be donated to patients through Liberty Hospice. They've supplied everything we need for them, so we are encouraging people to come for that. Like I said, it doesn't have to just be kids, but they're available to make anytime the library is open, and it is for a very good cause. This month, we are also going to be working on a heads up now that we are taking our story walk down temporarily while we are working on maintenance for it, because over the last year and a half, it's seen some wear and tear. We need to replace broken plexiglass and repaint. So when people see that things are down, that was on purpose. Our hope is to have it down for no more than 2 weeks. And then I know you guys are going to get really tired of hearing me talk about this, but the community garden, we are accepting the donations now. We have information on our Facebook page. We have a flyer up about that, and we have information in the library as well about it. We are hopefully going to be able to start planting soon. We are also going to be having the Harnett County Extension here this coming weekend for a gardening class that is open to the public. So if anybody has questions and is going to be coming to that, we're available for that as well.
Okay. Once again, good job. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, that's all I have. Anybody got any more comments or issues? Let me just say something. I've been modeling tonight being pretty happy and flexible, and I hope not flippant, because that's what's happening now in Anger. There is a lot of happy stuff going on. We are growing. Admittedly, as we grow, we have to, merge into that and do the best we can to hold on to where we've been. But golly, people, look at what's happening to dear Anger. We're just bursting at the seams. We've got a great team, great commission, and we thank all of you and those who were here for being here, because this is an exciting thing. Thank you, God, for blessing our community. Is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, vote for it by standing up and leaving. All right.